As part of our series on the Arthur Guinness Fund, we are joined each week by one of its recipients. This week, we're delighted to welcome Robin Blandford from Decisions for Heroes. You're very welcome on Global Village. Robin, did I get your surname right there?
Yeah, Blandford. That's
Blandford,
right.
fair enough. Okay. It's a little bit unusual. But Robin, tell us about Decisions for Heroes and the work that you do, because you've literally married two of your talents.
Yep, absolutely. So Decisions for Heroes, or as people call it, D4H, is a web application that helps save lives. So what we do is we help an emergency response team anywhere in the world record all the incident data they create, all the training exercises they undertake, and everything about their qualifications and their abilities. And our software then analyzes that data to try and look for patterns and trends to identify how they could respond better. So that might be getting quicker response, or might be taking better equipment or having better training, and overall trying to save more lives through that. So we've now got this operational in 7 or 8 countries. It's going really well, and we've been involved in a lot of the sort of large-scale disasters that have been happening over the last 2-3 years. We've had the software out and recording data, which is great.
Which is phenomenal. I mean, the fact that this concept has actually not only helped emergency response in Ireland, but actually abroad. Which other countries are you operating in?
So US and Canada would be a big focus. We're very successful in Iceland, Malta, New Zealand, Australia, United Kingdom, and here in Ireland as well.
It's phenomenal. But you yourself are a volunteer, a sea cliff rescue climber.
That's right, yeah.
And you're a unit training officer with the Irish Coast Guard. But when did you start thinking, of this idea? How did you actually go from actually thinking about it? Where did you get the idea from? And then what push did you have to actually get it started?
Sure. So I guess I studied digital media engineering in DCU here in Dublin, and went from there straight into a graduate placement with Reuters over in London and then Singapore. And I was involved with the Coast Guard as well at the same time, and I started observing things on our rescues to say, we could be collecting more data, we could be answering questions here about stuff that's happened before. And because you might have different people on a mission, very similar incident, but different people responding to it, the data doesn't sort of get aggregated together that you can identify these patterns. So I was asking these questions myself, and I just decided, well, I'll start building this in the evening. So I sort of took the knowledge I had from both my university degree and from the work I was doing with Reuters and web design work I was doing myself, and just started building a prototype. And actually it all started as a prototype for my own team, and that's all it was. It was just to see, could it work? And I gave it to a few other teams, and I'd say we were about 3 months in. I just decided to leave my job and let's go do this full time.
Wow.
And it's been full time for 3 years now since. It's great.
Wow. So within 3 months you decided to take the leave?
Yeah, it was I made a decision on a Friday evening, and on Monday I gave my notice.
I have to ask you, what did your family and friends say to you?
Welcome back home. I was in Singapore at the time. So
they were delighted
I moved
to get
home,
back.
Yeah. But I'd always wanted to do my own business. I was waiting for that opportunity. I'd try and motivate as many people to take that jump that they can. It's not so bad. You just go do it. It's a great thing. It's a great thing to be self-employed, but also do something that has a social impact. So that consists social change. It kind of makes it all worthwhile. But the information that your software accumulates, right? What I found really interesting is in relation to Hot Head. Mm-hmm. And because we talk about mental health a great deal on Global Village, and it is one of those things that we have to always keep talking about, because any one of us can have some mental health difficulty. But in relation to Hot Head and suicide attempts, your software actually helped in that area. Yeah, so that's a good example here of and this would run for any response team anywhere in the world. It'll work like that. So it identified that there was a cluster of incidents occurring at a certain position on a map. So we cluster up all the incidents together, and you're able to dive into those incidents and see, is there a pattern or trend occurring? And we could see there was a definite link that a lot of these in a very tight area were linked to suicide. from that, we were able to put in a prevention campaign. So you'd use the software to start doing things like, well, we now expect all members to have the Aware Assist training, which helps with an intervention in a suicide.
Yeah.
So
it is like a CPR when it
for
comes
first aid for suicide. Yeah. So let's get everyone trained in that. Let's contact the Samaritans and work with them to get signage running in from every angle. So because we can now see it on a map, we could use the software to say, well, the most likely time was at 4 p.m. on a Sunday. So now let's start putting our trained people in and around that area on that time. Now, you're not going to always, it's quite a rare occurrence in terms of you get 5 or 6 at the time a year. But part of the trends of this is that people will go to the same place multiple times. So you'd be able to hope that one of our safety or prevention patrols will just have contact with these people, just show that there is a presence there. And we saw massive deterrence from that. So we went from 7 to 9 incidents in 2009 to none in 2010 on the same place, or maybe it was 1, but a huge drop off.
Robin.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the software is really life-saving.
Yeah.
Just because before you came along, there wasn't any software that or any way of recording these.
There was nothing. I mean, people were using sort of their own custom solutions, and it might be a database or it might be just pen and paper. But what we've built is a very specialised piece of software that any response team anywhere in the world can have up and running in about 10 minutes. I mean, we host the whole thing for them. They just phone us and it's up and running. They get a free trial of it to see if it works for them. And
then when it comes to things like campaigning, the most crucial thing that you need is facts and figures. Mm-hmm. And because of your organisation, Decision for Heroes, you have that at your fingertips. So you can go to the authorities and say, well, this is really happening because we have the facts.
Yeah, I can give you another local example here in Dublin would be the identification of kite surfing incidents on Dollymount Beach, where it's very popular. So because we were able to take a cluster map of where the incidents were occurring, we could go straight to Dublin Port with that and say, look, we'd like funding on the beach here to say, this is what to do in an emergency for these positions because this is the most likely place. So it gives a lot of, in terms of social organisations like the mountain rescue teams and lifeboats and all those kind of guys, it gives them the ability to very easily get statistics to show to a parent organisation or funding or grant organisation.
Sounds all fantastic. And how did the involvement of the Arthur Guinness Fund help Decisions for Heroes? Yeah,
so we're delighted to be awarded that this year. What it's allowed us to do is start building our staff out. So there was 2 of us at the time that we got the fund, and we're now at 4 full-time, which is great. And that just gives us more and more time to be able to work on things like analytics, see if we can do more sort of custom and self-service reporting that help these teams identify these patterns and trends.
Not to mention the financial aid as well.
Well, that's exactly. We've used that for pretty much labour costs to work out all this R&D.
And how did the mentoring and the network become week in, week out? Every time a social entrepreneur sits in that seat, they say, we went in for the money, but actually what we got out of it, the mentoring and the networking was actually priceless.
So we've only had a couple of sessions as we've just started this year, but already those have started to be put into practice. So I'm 28. It's reasonably rare to have be a director of a company at my age, and in terms of it's my first time having a go at it. So that kind of mentoring is huge in that you're learning how to manage your first member of staff, and that was one of the first training things we did was situational leadership. And I'd use that now every 2-3 weeks when we're doing one-on-ones with staff and just trying to understand how to develop people.
It is fantastic that Decisions for Heroes got the award from Arthur Guinness Fund, and I can just see your project will go on and into the future, and hopefully you're in 7 countries now.
Yep.
The world is your oyster, Robin.
Yeah, we're working it.
Well, listen, thank you very much for joining us here on Global Village. Robin Blandford, your actually website for those who want to find out more.
Decisionsforheroes.com.
Keep up the phenomenal work. That's Robin Blandford from Decisions for Heroes, this week's social entrepreneur, thanks to our Arthur Guinness Fund series. Now, stay with us because coming up is our weekly check-in